everybody. Hey, Carla. I'm so glad you made it this week. And thank you for requesting half of today's show topic. Welcome. This is the last show of 2020, the last episode of, I keep forgetting I have to say this now because the show has a name. What would Cynthia do? So last time we are convening here in 2020, which is pretty exciting. It has been a year. I'm sure many of us have been like, when will this end? And obviously a lot of the stuff we're dealing with is not going to end just because it's the end of a calendar year. But I do recognize like the benefit, at least psychologically and for other reasons, of there being like this feeling of an end and a new beginning, hope, potential, a clean slate, even if it's not totally our reality. So anyway, welcome everybody. You all know already, we like to do intros here. So please put your name and pronouns in the chat. Please share what you do if you like, and then one ask and one offer. We have a great topic today, which we're going to get into after we do the intros and, how are we doing? The topic is actually a double header, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that later. Asking the offer doesn't have to be a big deal. As I always like to tell you, it can be something totally chill and not even job related, but it can be job related or career related if you want. So free for all. My offer is that there are 8 days left for you all to take advantage of this. But if anybody has been waiting to work with me one-on-one, I opened up a few extra slots. Now they're going to be booking in January, but I'm taking bookings until 12/31. So literally next Thursday, New Year's Eve or whatever. You can get my $150 45-minute coaching sessions for only $99. If you show me your proof of purchase for my book, don't stay in your lane. I just made a big mess. Anyways, so if you want to do that, drop a note in the chat and I can send you the info on how you can redeem that offer. My ask is that you think about and write down during the show what you want me to talk about in January. And at the end, I'm going to let you know what's on my list and we can add to the list and you all can vote about what topics you want me to cover in the new year. Okay. Hi, Rochelle. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. Feel free, if you have an ask or an offer for the group, to drop it in the chat. And I know Carla's here. Hopefully Lucic is also here because the first topic of our doubleheader is her request. And so I hope that she can be here for that. But this is going to be a bit of a free-for-all today. If you do have like random questions, please pop them in the chat. Hi, Fikile. This is the time to do it. All throughout, you can pop your questions in the chat. I will like check in with you in there every so often so that I can make sure to keep things super relevant to you. But I want this to be a space where you all can connect too. So awesome that Fikile is joining from South Africa. I'm super curious, though you don't have to say if you don't want to, which city in South Africa you are joining from. Hey, Natasha. Natasha's really awesome. And you all can read in the chat about Natasha. I'm going to highlight your little bio there because I always forget to do this, that I can put your comments in the chat for everyone's reading pleasure. Natasha has devoted her career to tenants' rights and social justice lawyering. Holiday baking ideas. Cool. Holiday well wishes. Thank you for those. I don't bake as much anymore. Oh my God. Hi, Rhonda. Okay. Rhonda is my dear friend and public speaking coach. She is launching a flagship program in January. So everybody check out Rhonda, follow Rhonda, and simplyspeechsolutions.com, I believe is her website. So you can sign up for more info for her flagship public speaking offering for women, trailblazing women, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Rhonda can put the details in the chat instead of me like just botching it here. Hi, Deborah. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, from Texas. This is great. Usually people don't always put like their geography, so it's kind of fun to see where everybody's from. I'm in New York. Carla Dickerson is on the West Coast, Southern California, in the house. And not sure where Rochelle is, but maybe Rochelle will tell us. Okay, so now we're going to do our little, keep doing your intros in the chat. I love them. But we're going to do our usual, how are we doing, check-in. So I have kind of a big update this week, which is that which is that I recently won 2 things. It's incredible. And those of you who follow me on Instagram, my handle on there is @EmbraceChangeNYC. You already know this probably, but the past couple of weeks I've been on this new tip where I'm just like applying to everything, like every grant, fund, funding opportunity, award, program, whatever. If I see it and it looks like it's even remotely a fit for me and what I do and what I need, I just apply. I used to be the complete opposite. I would always just be like, oh, this looks hard. This looks like it's not for me. I wouldn't deserve that. I would never get that. All the negative thoughts, and then I would never apply to stuff. But whoops, I don't know what just happened there. That was weird. But I have been doing this new thing where I just apply to things. I shut down my inner critic negative voice and I just apply. And I got 2 things, you all. One of them is I got into this program for women of color entrepreneurs to get a $1,000 grant and coaching and training to learn how to do a crowdfunding campaign, which I'm going to do, I guess, next May. And then it's sponsored by iFund Women and their iFund Women of Color initiative, and also Caress, the like body care product company. So yeah, I'm getting into that program and like $1,000, yay. And then the second thing I get, which I will tell you a funny story about after I tell you what it is I got a $2,000 grant from the Asian American Business Development Association in conjunction with like Hennessy or something. They're doing like this initiative called Unfinished Business for women of color, people of color who are business owners, to give them grants because it's been such a shit year for a lot of small businesses. So I got $2K from them and I was very excited. And yes, I'm going to keep playing that air horn. Anyway, so the funny story about that one is that I applied for this and, you know, I didn't really expect that I would get anything. I was just doing this thing, right? Where I was applying to everything. And so I just forgot about it, moved on in my life. And I got a call the other day, and usually I don't answer calls where I don't know the number, but I was like, let me answer this. And so I did. And they were like, hey, is this Cynthia? And I was like, yes. And they were like, oh, this is so-and-so. We're calling to let you know that, you know, this unfinished business thing you applied to, you want a grant of $2,000. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, we've been emailing you. And I was like, I have not gotten any emails. I was like, what email did you send it to? It was my email. I was like, where did you send it from? They tried to email me 3 times with like deadlines to get them my W-9 and stuff that I kept missing because everything was going to spam. Oh my gosh, it was like a real moment where I was like, I could have missed out on this, you know, essentially free money, you know. But thank goodness they called me. They extended the deadline like multiple times too. It was, anyway, so I'm feeling great. Back to this, how are we doing? Let me see on the chat. Wow, lots of activity here. Thank you, Rhonda, for explaining what your flagship public speaking program is. Deborah sounds interested. Yay. Thanks for the kudos, Rhonda. You've definitely helped me get here. And Carla, thank you for the congrats. Lakimja, hi, welcome. Thanks for the hearts. And Natasha, yes. Where do you find these opportunities? Well, so this is where building relationships, like what all you can do in the chat now, is like really helpful, because I honestly don't remember where I found the crowdfunding iFund Women of Color opportunity from. It was either because someone else was like doing a fundraiser on iFund Women and I was on their site to look at their fundraiser and contribute, and then I saw something on their site, or I came across it another way. I literally don't remember that one, but I do remember then sharing it to people that are in the Slack with me, which is for this group business coaching program I've been doing with one of my friends and heroes. I was going to talk about her later, but I've been in Maya Herdats Crush Your Sales Plan program for the last 3 months, so Q4 of 2020, and she'll probably do it again, but I don't know when. But the Facebook group that Maya runs is like popping, so just join that. It's called Kickstart Your Biz with Maya. I'm not a Facebook person, so you won't see me on there, but that is how I found out about the Hennessy grant with unfinished business and all that. Maya was basically like, you all should apply. So your network, everybody, the people you know, they will tell you things that you wouldn't ordinarily see, and you can pay it forward by also sharing what you know with them. And and they'll be more likely to think of you and mention you for opportunities and stuff like this. Because listen, we're not going to get awards unless we apply for them. Like this idea that someone's going to like notice you and like pluck you out of obscurity or relative obscurity and be like, hey, here, have this like huge award or whatever. Like, it's not usually how it happens. We got to like make our wins happen for ourselves. So anyways, hopefully that answers your question, Lakimja. And yeah, Carla, sometimes a phone call can change your life. I mean, this wasn't exactly like winning a lottery, but you know, it does feel great. It's the first time I've won something like this. So, you know, yes. And Lakimja, your network is your net worth. I mean, 100,000%. So accurate. Okay, so tell me, I've been talking this whole time and nobody has been saying how you all are doing. Tell me how you're doing. 2 words in the chat so we can do a little temperature check. And I do want, I mean, we have a great crowd here today. Also, I was like, oh, it's like the week of the holidays. It's end of the year. Nobody's going to tune in. And actually, we have a great crowd. So thank you all for coming. Please network with each other. That's how the... If you have an ask or an offer, I want to meet people in real estate. I want to talk to people about career change. Like this is how these connections will happen. Natasha and Carla and the others who have been here before, you know how it happens. So, all right. So keep doing that, connecting in there. Thank you, Rhonda. Tired and grateful. Yeah, that's a mood for the end of 2020 for sure. Like it's been a year. And especially, you know, shout out to all of you moms out there, working moms, business moms, parents. Like, I literally don't know how you're doing it and holding anything together at this point because it's been so stressful like this year. Carla is hyped and focused. Awesome. And Debria is nervous and anxious. I hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm mispronouncing it, please forgive me and tell me how to say it correctly. So yeah, we got a range. From tired, nervous to more higher energy and then grateful in between. So keep those going. I'm going to roll right into our topic for oh wow, I didn't know I could do these 2 banners. Wow, that's a lot. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to make this not a ticker because that's too much, I think. Okay, there we go. Today's double header topic for What Would Cynthia Do? How to pitch and price your services. This was a request from Lucic. So shout out to Lucic. Hopefully you can watch the replay if you're not here. And number 2, request from Carla, who is here. How to identify and leverage your strengths in 2021. So I'm going to dive into this topic, this twofold topic for the next like 10 to 15 minutes, but whatever questions and comments, please put them in the chat and we'll go back to them. And also like, I want to answer everybody's specific questions about these things. So first I want to talk about Lucic's question. And so Lucic had texted me or messaged me on LinkedIn and was like sharing that she's a, you know, woman of color entrepreneur, business owner, and she provides services. I'm not sure the exact type of services that she provides, but I believe they have to do with DEI. So diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting work. And so she said this. Personally, I feel asking for payment from women of color for my services that I've rendered, I feel guilty for asking for them. I tend to give them a discount. It's some kind of bias. Would love to hear how you frame or pitch your services and, you know, addressing this issue around guilt for being paid when your clients are women of color. So this is very interesting. And I have thought about it deeply myself since my clientele are women of color as well. And, you know, but of different financial means and things. So when I was thinking about what Lucic said, the first thing that came to mind for sure as a threshold issue is you deserve to be paid for your labor. All right. Regardless of who your clients are, your work is valuable. You should be paid so that you can support and meet your financial needs in life, live the life that you want, also have some more so you can plan for your later on financial stuff. Like, you know, Carla's a financial person. Others here are probably have more knowledge in this area. So like, feel free to pipe in the chat, but you 100% deserve it. And it's not something like, feelings of guilt around payment, like there's a lot to dive into that we obviously can't like fully get into and address today. But just remember, Lucic and anyone else who feels this way, like you deserve to get paid regardless of who your clients are. All right, your work is valuable. And since we live within capitalism, you know, I've seen this meme or thing go around on the internet. Where does the money reside, right? That is the question. Okay, so that's the first thing as a threshold matter. Secondly, you know, let's unpack this discount for women of color thing a little bit. So I think there's a slightly different valence, like a slightly different feel or perspective between these two things. Number one, if you have an equity-based pricing system where white folks pay more for your services and women of color maybe pay less, and then like the true value, quote unquote, is somewhere in the middle, that's one way you could do this. And I'm going to share with you that a really good example of that is from my colleague, Natalie Orozco, who you can find on here and also Instagram. I think her handle is @Nat Orozco. But anyway, recently I got an email invite to one of Natalie's circles. Like she and two other facilitators, they run these ceremonies in circles, usually quarterly or like around the solstice. And I couldn't make it, but like I really liked her pricing system, which was there was a higher amount for, and I forgot what she called it, but it was something like sponsor level or something where you're like paying it forward. So you're paying extra because you have the means and it will help cross subsidize somebody who does not have the means. Then there was the true value amount, which was somewhere in the middle. And then there was the lower one, which is like, you know, you can only pay that much, right? So she had like a 3-level system. You choose whatever, you know, based on the honor system is describes you and what you can do. So that's one way to think about this. And then another way to think about it is like what Lucic said, which is discounts for women of color. So I think it's slightly different because it's not like you're only going down for people, right? Like a lot of women and women of color entrepreneurs, like we're like, oh, this is the most I could ever possibly imagine charging for this, right? So then I really should just charge people less than that when you give a discount. Like in Natalie's way, there's like at least 3 tiers, right? So you are bumping it up for people who can pay so that they are transparently paying more to cross-subsidize people who you are giving a discount to, right? There's a slightly different feel to that. Let me know if that's unclear. But then I have an example of how I do my pricing for my one-on-one clients, which is I have a sliding scale for clients unless their institution is paying fully for their coaching. If their institutions are fully paying the bill, I have a whole different set of rates, right? Because that's a separate thing. Like those are like the real value and like very high pricing that I have for my coaching individually. But for more regular folk who like, you know, if your work is only paying partial subsidy or like nothing at all and you're paying out of pocket, then I have a sliding scale and that's based on your annual income. So it's not based on race, but is based on, you know, a proxy for class, which is, you know, the best and least complicated way I can think of to do it is to base it by your annual salary for that year. And again, it is by honor system. So I just ask people like, where are you at on my sliding scale? Like here it is on my website. Like, let me know. I'll send you that sign up link. Oh, I just saw the chat. Thanks, Lakimja. I'm glad you like that. Where does the money? I'm assuming you're talking about the where does the money reside thing. But yeah, pop culture. I do know a bit about it. Just a wee bit. Thank you, Carla. Carla is the queen of dropping links in the chat. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that. And I'm glad that Lakimja, you like that example. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so back to Lucic's question. You could still have what is essentially a discount for women of color if you want, but just make sure that you then have enough folks who are not paying a discount and who are potentially paying more to cross-subsidize your services so that as a whole, your business and your financial picture, if you will, is like a healthy one, right? You need your business to be able to be sustainable, right? And that's a long-term thing. It can take time to build up to it, and that's okay. Like for a while in my business, I did no sliding scale, right? Because I wasn't at a point where I had built up my business so that I could break it out like that. It was just like everyone is at this level because that's what I have to earn in order to pay the bills that I have to pay, in order to pay the women of color contractors that I'm hiring, all of that stuff. So it's an evolution, and don't be afraid to have different stages of your business where you're doing different things. Okay, I know I'm talking fast, but I have an eye on the clock. What else did I want to say? Okay, if you have folks who truly cannot pay for your services, like you're working with women of color who can barely pay the rent, put food on the table, support their families, all that stuff, then you need to think about who else is paying for that, right? Do you have a sponsor? Do you have an institution who is underwriting what you are doing, like a workshop for women of color or something, so that it can make financial sense for you? And even then, I think it's important to at least think like, okay, I know that these are working class women of color, or they're working poor, or they're at this level, they're on unemployment, whatever, I can't feel good about charging them even $25. Okay, so can you do something like $5, a $10 suggested ticket, something like that, where it's they're paying in a little bit, because there is psychologically, we invest in different ways when we invest with our money. So if you want them to show up, to get the most value out of a thing, to fully engage and participate, to think back to what they learned from whatever your services are, then having them invest a bit financially, that's really the way to do it. I mean, think about how you interact with stuff. If you sign up for something and it's free, for me, it's 80% I'm not going to that thing. I may have the best intention, but if I haven't paid a bunch of money, something's going to come up and I'm going to be tired, or I'll make up some excuse and I'm not going to go. So think about that. Hey, Viana, another one of our regular What Would Cynthia Do attendees. Hi, I was just talking about you this morning, Viana, because I was talking to someone else with a name that rhymes with Rihanna. So welcome. All right. So that is pretty much my response to how to pitch it, how to price your services and stuff. I didn't even get into the pitching. Holy moly, this is a real example of me trying to cram in too much. So I'm going to talk next time maybe about more of this framing of services thing. But if folks have questions, let me know, because I want to talk about the second topic, which is how to identify and leverage your strengths in 2021. And that is a request from Carla Dickerson. Where are you? Hyped and focused. There you are. Thank you for requesting this, Carla. And as usual, questions or whatever, drop them in the chat. I'll come back to them. So here's what I want to say about this. First of all, how do you identify your strengths? Well, there's an internal way and there's an external way. Internally is you pay attention to what you're really enjoying during your week. Just think back the past week. When were you hitting flow and losing track of time because of what you were doing? You were so into it, right? Because chances are you're really good at that thing. Externally, if you can't think of anything like that, and that's not helping you get where you want to go with identifying your strengths, you can ask your friends. You can survey some of the people that know you best and be like, hey, I'm trying to, get a better handle on my strengths to capitalize on them for 2021. What do you think are my top 3 strengths? What's unique about me? What's your favorite character trait that I have? And ask the people around you, because oftentimes they can see us so much more clearly than we see ourselves. All right. So then it's the second part, which is how do you leverage these strengths, right? This was the topic here. And this is basically how you do it. I want to show you all this mug. Hopefully you can read it. Do more of what makes you happy. This is a quote by Carmel McConnell, I guess. We have a sip of water. Hydration, people. It's important. Yeah, so that mug, my coworkers from Legal Aid gave to me when I left and went on a sabbatical, because I think everyone in their heart of hearts knew that I wasn't coming back. But I needed that space to sort things out or whatever. But my friend spearheaded this effort to do a group gift. And that was one of the things they gave me, was that mug. And so that's how I think about leveraging your strengths, is how can you do more of what makes you happy? Because you're probably going to be good at it, like I said. How can you work more of that into your business? How can you ask for more opportunities, or find or create more opportunities to work that into your job? Things that make you happy, right? Because you're probably excellent at them. Think about that as you go into 2021. And if you're planning out goals or things like that, That can be one way that you take this asset-based approach. This is what Carla is asking about. This is a strengths-based approach where you're not zooming in only on the weaknesses and the areas for growth, but you are thinking about, what am I already good at? What comes naturally to me? How can I build off of that? Because you're already starting at another level. You know what I mean? So those are the questions I would suggest that you ask, instead of thinking always about like, how can I fill this gap? Like, I feel like I have this deficit. How can I close this gap? How can I like compensate for it? How can I brush up on these skills? And all of that. Now, I'm going to come back to that and say why that is still important in a second. But as an example, friends have told me, and this is something I wrote about in my book, Don't Stay in Your Lane, which is that one of my friends in law school was like, Cynthia, you really pay attention. You like really pay attention and care about details. Like, you'd be really good at running your own business. And at the time I thought that was absurd, like totally ridiculous and out of left field. But turns out Connie was right. So I had to write about her in my book. Other people have said like that I give really good advice. I'm really good at finding solutions to problems, being supportive, strong analytical skills. And I know about myself, I'm a hardcore introvert. So that is why the like meat and potatoes in my work is the one-on-one connection, because that's like my zone of genius, So I have created my business in a way that largely plays to my strengths, but I'm going to come back to that areas for growth in a minute. Yeah, so there also may be strengths that like don't really fit with what you do for your job, or like just don't make sense to work into it. And that is okay too, but it's always, it's just good to know oneself, right? So for me, for an example, I'm really good at like looking at something, seeing a design or like looking at an outfit or something and being like, that is giving me like a real like Halloween-y vibe, or like that looks like candy corn or something. And my spouse is always saying to me like how fucking weird it is how I describe things. But I guess I have this weird ability to, I don't know, like pick up on a vibe of something and describe it in terms of something else that's totally unrelated. It's just kind of a weird and wacky trait that I have. Does it really help me with my coaching work and my speaking and writing? Not really. But that's okay. That is also a weird, quirky strength that I have, right? Okay. So now I'm going to loop back to that thing about areas for growth and weaknesses, if you will. So listen, it depends where you are and what your situation is. Like, where are you in your career? What are your next goals? Short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, right? What are you trying to do? Because having an asset-based approach is great, and being able to do that is great. Sometimes though, you still have to figure out what are the areas that you do have to work on and improve. Like, for example, my whole work with, where's that comment? Oh yeah, here we go. My whole work with Rhonda, that's probably a better one, who's launching this flagship program. Like, I started working with Rhonda about a year ago because I knew that even though I'm decent in front of a group, and public speaking is like not the most horrible thing that I'm like okay at it, like I wanted to work with Rhonda to like really invest in improving that, right? So I would say that's an example of like me pushing myself in the past year to close a particular skills gap that I had, so that I had more confidence and all this stuff. And so sometimes that happens, like you do have to work on those things. And then also my work with Maya to learn how to do sales, because like I didn't know how the fuck to do that in my job at all. And like she's already helped me like earn more than 20K extra in this year that I thought that I would be earning. Like, my projections were one thing. After I worked with Maya, like it somehow I just made even that much more. So there are benefits to investing in yourself and identifying what areas it would be fruitful for you to work on and work with an expert and really grow. Because like those 2 wins I mentioned at the beginning, like I wouldn't have that $3,000 together from those 2 awards if I hadn't worked with Maya and just been in this mind space of now, like, I'm just going to apply to everything. Okay, what do you all think? Tell me how you're doing in the chat. Is everyone okay? I'm so glad Lakimja is saying that Carla is like sharing resources here about VIA. Carla shared the actual link. Thank you. I'm also a fan of like, if you want, what's it called? like strengths assessments or stuff. Oh, I know Rhonda's got one that she really likes. I think it's like 5 strengths or something like that. The one I usually use with clients is the DISC. So it's like dominance, influence, steadiness, conscientiousness, or something like that. And figuring out where you land in that kind of circle with 4 quadrants is pretty helpful for clients and folks who just want to know themselves better. The resource from Rhonda in the chat. I'm not sure if that was the MailChimp. If you're talking about the MailChimp sign up that you can sign up to find out more about Rhonda's program, it's that link, which just scroll up for that. Oh my God, Prev is here. I've been worried about you. I hope you're doing okay. Hi, Prev. I hope everything has been all right. I need to drop you a line soon and catch up. So yeah, anyway, Lakimja, I hope that was the resource you were looking for. I cannot type in the chat for whatever reason because I'm coming at you through StreamYard. So that's why Carla is always helping me with the links and stuff. So yes, DISC. Okay, Strengths Finder. Yes, yes. Oh my God, look at this. Everybody in the chat is a brain trust. All right, that is exactly why I love convening this space, because all of you have such a font of knowledge, and like being able to share it with each other and meet each other and share resources so that you can win money too. That's what this is all about. Okay. Wowzers, I think we're pretty much at time. So listen, I'm going to run through a bunch of topics that I sort of have on the list for future. And please tell me in the chat. Is this playing? What is happening here? Please tell me in the chat what resonates with you, because we will be back here on January 6th. All right. And we will talk about some of these topics. I don't know which one yet, but this is a list that I have kind of like pending from previously that people have requested. And also, if you have additional requests, please put them in the chat. But like, if I say something, you're like, yes, that topic, type it in, and I'll go back and like count up all the votes and stuff, right? So self-care, business startup, like how to transition from employee to entrepreneur, how to amplify your brand globally, networking, career change, boundaries at work, that is, defining success, keeping momentum in my business when things are challenging, and imposter syndrome. So those have been the requests so far. If any of that vibes with you, put it in the chat. Can you also tell me like what other things would you like me to talk about? Because there's a bajillion things. I am going to come back and talk about this, like how to frame and pitch your services at some point in the future, since I didn't have time for that, and I don't think Lucic is here. So that is on deck too, but just let me know what resonates with you and what you want me to talk about next year, because this is for you all. Okay, as you do that, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Happy holidays. I hope everyone gets the rest that they need. Everyone who's tired, nervous, anxious, all of that, do your grounding stuff. Take care of yourself first. You got to fill your cup, right, before you can help others. All of those metaphors, oxygen mask, etc. Do those things, rest up, and oh my God, I'm going to see you in 2021. We finally made it to the end of this year. Please keep putting your topic requests in the chat or private message them to me on LinkedIn. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Lakimja, for your requests. I am going to put an extra vote for those, and we'll likely hit them up in January. I also have a lot of new exciting things that I'm planning for January, so keep your ear out for that. A couple of collabs that I'm very excited about. But yeah, have a great holiday, and I'll see you all on the other side. Bye.